This is Alan Schlafer of Resort Trades in Ask Mando. I'm at the annual Vacation Ownership Investment Conference here at the Peabody in Orlando, Florida, with David Disick, the founder and principal of David Disick and a pioneer in the private residence club industry. David, what do you see as the situation and prospects for the fractional industry at this point in the fall of 2010 going forward?
I think the prospects are extremely good. I think they're rosy. I think that we, beginning in 2011, will see a further expansion. And Alan, it goes back to the basic appeal of the fractional. From the buyer's point of view, it's a more rational purchase. You don't have to buy a whole ownership home you're going to use for just a few weeks a year. From a seller's point of view, an investor's point of view, there's greater profit. So the bottom line, I feel, is superb. I've seen this industry progress from the mid-90s when, frankly, I started it, to a couple of $1 billion in sales before the meltdown. And even since the meltdown, it's performing better than whole ownership.
And one of the issues that's been cited at some of the recent industry conferences is the financing question, the sort of Jerry Maguire show me the money raised by both developers in terms of getting money to fund their projects or ongoing efforts, as well as money for buyers. Can you tell us about any developments that have occurred or are occurring in those arenas?
Yes. I've spent a good bit of time in the last few years in cultivating colleagues and friends in the Wall Street community. And there is significant interest, particularly with one major firm that I'm dealing with, in developer financing for sound projects and in buyer financing. We're looking for projects to bring to this source. So if any of your readers have projects that they'd like to introduce, I'll be happy to take a look at it.
David, let's just go very briefly, into a few additional details. What amounts of financing, what other criteria for the projects themselves, if our viewers are interested?
From an institutional perspective, Alan, the deal should be at least $25 million, and preferably higher. What are the criteria? Management, marketing, and sales. It's pretty basic. Bankers need to put money to work, so the developer has to show sound fundamentals.
What about their contingency planning? Instead of the rosy estimates we saw a few years ago that just didn't pan out.
I'm writing an article now, Alan, called 8 Fundamental Rules in Raising Money. Rule number 4 is Murphy's Law. Assume everything will go wrong, and what kind of contingency are you prepared to deal with it? Real important. Essential.
Let's turn quickly to the buyer financing side. What are the criteria and different key aspects of that program?
The criteria are, the key aspects of that program are a program that we've developed with the Wall Street source I referred to, called securities-based funding. The mortgage money is not there right now for fractions, but affluent buyers can pledge securities as collateral for loans that can go as high, literally, Alan, as 97% of the value of the securities. This particular firm is also creating a mortgage product for fractionals, but it's not yet on the market. The criterion is a sound buyer and a sound project.
What about the amount of financing available? Is there any minimum or maximum that a buyer can put up in order to secure the
securities lending?
Yes.
Minimum is $100,000. Maximum for all practical purposes, no max.
Good. David, you've also recently come out with a book on the fractional industry that has gotten rave reviews from all of the testimonials I've seen. What are some of the key points of the book and why some of our viewers might want to consider learning more about it?
One key point is I'd love to sell the movie rights, but I haven't yet.
Is Michael Douglas going to be starring as the lead guy?
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford, okay.
You're kind, Alan. In the space of a month, we have sold a very large number of copies of the book. And interestingly, not solely the U.S. market. We have 5 buyers from Australia, would you believe, 4 from the United Kingdom, and a spattering of buyers from other European countries. I've been fortunate enough to have testimonials from a number of industry icons, and the one that I like best, second best, is from Ed McMullen Sr., one of the pioneers in this industry. And his point, which I think is central to the book, is that it combines theory with practical in the trenches experience. Theory without the ability to execute ain't going to get you anywhere.
What are some of the kinds of practical experience in dealing with marketing and sales issues that face developers of all products and shared ownership every day?
How do you create a sense of confidence and comfort in the current economic climate so that people will purchase? That's the central issue right now. There's my psychologist friends would call it a free-flowing anxiety in the body politic. That's the central issue as to how you deal with it. The other central issue is a concept you're familiar with, I know, called relationship selling. Learn about your prospect before you endeavor to sell. Learn everything about your prospect. Don't sell. Endeavor to encourage him or her to ask to buy.
David, we hope a lot of our viewers will indeed ask to buy and learn a lot from your book. All the best to you and your ongoing efforts in the fractional industry.
Thank you, Alan.